This is Part 3, Episode 179. The impartments from the 9 seniors would definitely make the younger generation of the warrior temple become much more powerful than Qiu Yonghao's generation. As a result, the 9 eternal heroes garnered the highest respect from the members of the upper echelon. The demon god of death Sami Jina is currently marching through day and night with 16 demon gods and 500,000 demon elites. According to the information provided to us, they will arrive at the southeastern fort in around 3 days' time. I've gathered everyone today to discuss our countermeasures. Qiu Yonghao's words made the atmosphere there tense. Even though they had already anticipated that the demon god emperor would treat them as a fantastic target, as the fort closest to Modu, they still became very nervous when the demon army was actually coming. After all, the southeastern fort guarded by the warrior temple had been attacked the most. It was also one of the weaker forts of the 6. The demon army had come this time with great aggression, such that just the demon gods amounted to 16. That only demonstrated how much pressure the warrior temple was under. Is the information accurate, Temple Head Qiu? The old man who sat at the end of the table asked sternly out of the 9 eternal heroes. Qiu Yonghao nodded. The information is very accurate. The chairman had ordered people to deliver it. At the same time, it matches up with the information we've obtained ourselves, so it's very reliable. Senior Yi, what would be your suggestion? The old man at the 4th rank of the 9th step was called Yi Sanmi. He shook his head gently. We're only responsible for fighting. You decide the battle strategy and tactics. However, I have to remind you that our troops are a mix of the 6 temples now. It's different from before, so the battle strategy and tactics must be adjusted accordingly. Yes, Qiu Yonghao replied politely. He really was not afraid of Sami Jina anymore. Currently in the southeastern fort, there were several hundreds of thousand people with vacations, almost amounting to 500,000. They did not pale in comparison to the demons at all in terms of numbers. Even if the demons' army was composed of the greatest elites, the southeastern fort had been favored by the Union after the last holy war and its defenses increased. There were also 9 eternal heroes present. They could not necessarily win a battle against the demons on open ground, but Qiu Yonghao had great confidence in guarding the southeastern fort. Orders were sent out one after another, making arrangements according to Long Haochen's strategy for the entire war. If the southeastern fort was attacked by the demon army, they would only have a single objective, which was to defend, to keep the demon army busy there and to reduce their losses. Just that was enough. The same battle strategy was used at the Myriad Beasts Mountain Pass, guarded by the spiritual temple. The Myriad Beasts Mountain Pass had received quite a large reinforcement, but they had always been one of the most difficult forts to breach out of the 6, together with the Tombao Mountain Pass guarded by the Mage Temple. Coupled with the rearrangement of vocations, the Myriad Beasts Mountain Pass also possessed people of all 6 vocations. Chen Hongyu also had 9 eternal heroes by his side, so he was filled with confidence. Not only did he want to defend, he was even slightly tempted to launch a counterattack against the demons. As the troops of the humans and demons were mobilized, the atmosphere over the entire Xingmo Dalu became more and more tense. However, the first clash would not involve their armies. Instead, it would come from the peak forces amounting to around 1,000 led by the demon god emperor. When they had basically crossed half of the demons' territory and reached the dragon-resisting mountain pass using their great strength, the armies led by the demon god of death and the hell demon god had not even reached their respective forts. The dragon-resisting mountain pass was already in view in the distance. The moon demon god Agars arrived beside the demon god emperor's carriage and asked sternly, Your Majesty, do we launch an attack immediately, or do we? The demon god emperor said indifferently, There's no hurry. Didn't Long Haochen purposely draw us over? Let me see him first. Just here will do. Find a level area to set up camp. Yes, Agars replied and immediately passed on the demon god emperor's order. Agars might have ranked second amongst the demon gods, but he seemed more like the caretaker of the entire army in that moment. He carried out the demon god emperor's will. They were 25 kilometers away from the dragon-resisting mountain pass. Amongst the chilly wind, fine tents made from tanned leather were quickly erected in the wilderness. Having great strength was the best. Even when it came to erecting tents, it could be completely very quickly. If it was an ordinary army, seventh-step powerhouses would possess an extremely high status. However, in this group, even powerhouses of the eighth step had to perform menial jobs. There were no seventh-step demons in the army at all. Even the lowest was at the eighth step. With around 1,000 eighth STE demons, just how terrifying of a force was this? Even if the 6 temples were combined, they might not have been able to gather so many powerhouses. The tents had to be shared between a pair of 8th step demons. Only 9th step powerhouses possessed the right to a tent alone, while the tents of the demon gods were dark golden. The largest obviously belonged to the demon god emperor. The tent was like a palace. That was the best description of the demon god emperor's tent. All these demons really did not stand out in the north, buffeted by wind and snow, when night had already descended. However, once the tents were erected and the demons had settled down, the dragon-resisting mountain pass immediately discovered them. It was impossible for the mountain pass to ignore them. They stood out just too much. 19 pillars of light immediately lit up. Every single pillar was a different color and size as well. However, even the shortest stood 100 meters tall, while the longest, purple one, was almost 1,000 meters long. These were the demon god pillars of the 19 demon gods that had come with the demon god emperor. When the 19 demon god pillars appeared, the light illuminated the wilderness, but also caused great shock to the mountain pass. Apart from the eternal heroes, none of the powerhouses from the mountain pass had witnessed such a grand sight before. The 19 demon god pillars meant that 19 demon gods had arrived outside the mountain pass. Most importantly, the 19 demon god pillars formed a ring, and in the center, a dark golden light was vaguely visible. It connected the ground with the sky, as if it held up the firmament alone. Although it was not clear, the dignified aura it gave off surpassed the 19 demon god pillars combined. Even the chairman of the Temple Union, the captain of the Bright Glimmer of Hope, witnessed this and was shocked by it, let alone others. Knowing about this was one matter, while personally seeing it was something else. Despite appeared extremely calm on the surface, he felt pressure inside. The demon god emperor, the invincible existence on the Shingmordalu, had finally come. This also meant that he was about to face off against this terrifying existence. All of the important members from the Night Temple were stern. Even the eternal heroes were the same. The news of victory against the demons by Long Houchen's army had reached the dragon-resisting mountain pass as quickly as possible, and it was spread across the entire Union. As the chairman, Long Houchen's popularity surged in that moment. Coupled with the magic film from before, who knew just how much Long Houchen's influence had increased by since he became the chairman. During the 6,000 years of fending off the demons, the humans had never achieved such a great victory. However, now that they saw the 20 demon god pillars in the distance, all of their joy from this victory vanished. A momentary triumph was not the same as final victory. As long as the invincible demon god emperor existed, then the humans would basically never be able to rise up. While the demon god emperor did bring 209th step powerhouses with him and over 1,000 at the 8th step, the greatest threat that shocked the dragon-resisting mountain pass was actually just the demon god emperor. The accumulation of might over several thousand years could not be overcome by building up some courage. The atmosphere of the dragon-resisting mountain pass was terrifyingly tense. Long Hao Chen. A solemn voice boomed out. Its terrifying might had almost made the entire mountain pass tremble slightly. Seeing the demon powerhouses set up camp in the distance, the Night Temple did not think they would launch an attack immediately. However, upon hearing the voice, all of them were surprised. They all looked at Long Houchen. The voice came from 25 kilometers away, yet it felt like the demon god emperor was right before them. Long Houchen squinted his eyes as they shone brightly. Kicking off the ground, he rose up and the 6 golden wings on his back unfurled. Immediately, he dyed the city of the mountain pass golden. Demon God Emperor. Long Houchen said very calmly, without any emotions at all, but it also reached very far away. As he said that, he slowly flew higher in the sky. At the same time, a bright streak of light descended from the sky and landed behind him. The sky suddenly became illuminated like it was daytime. The white light immediately expanded and purged large parts of the darkness of the night. At least where the dragon-resisting mountain pass resided, it was all filled by the pure aura, which comforted the terror that everyone experienced. A 9-colored light began to expand from the center of the white light. The 9 colors were so magnificent, sacred and noble. They gave off a sense of supreme dignity. A huge divine throne that spanned over 300 meters appeared in the center of the 9-colored light. The light gave off a special aura, as they existed without any disorder. Vaguely, the 9 colors gradually formed rings of light, while the throne itself gradually gained the color that was similar to white jade. The exquisite sculpting on the back of the throne gave off an indescribable sense of beauty. On top was the celestial bodies, in the center were birds and beasts, while the part connecting the back to the body were the phenomena of nature. On the armrests were the sculptures of a divine gigantic dragon and a 12-winged angel. As the powerhouses of the mountain pass bathed in the light of the throne, all of their fear was purged. They could no longer feel any of the pressure from the 20 demon god pillars in the distance. Long Houchen remained standing there, but around him, a giant's figure was produced before the divine throne of eternity and creation. The figure stood over 500 meters tall. It was Long Houchen. Even though it was just a projection, the moment the huge figure sat down on the divine throne of eternity and creation, everyone from the dragon-resisting mountain pass, regardless of vocation, performed the most courteous salute towards Long Houchen. Enthusiasm replaced their fear. The demons have their invincible demon god emperor, but we humans have the divine knight of leadership and glory, Chairman Long Houchen. By releasing the divine throne of eternity and creation, Long Houchen had revived the morale of the mountain pass, which also increased at an astonishing rate. As if it was stimulated by the divine throne of eternity and creation's aura, the demon god emperor's devil dragon pillar suddenly shone brightly with golden light. It also gradually expanded under the golden light, only stopping upon becoming the same size as Long Houchen's figure. A huge, dark golden dragon appeared behind the demon god emperor, turning into a huge dragon's throne that was even larger than the divine throne of eternity and creation to hold the demon god emperor's body. You really have surprised me with your growth rate. Failing to kill you in the battle 5 years ago was my greatest mistake. Despite being over 24 kilometers away, the demon god emperor's voice remained clear, like he was just beside Long Houchen. Long Houchen said indifferently, "A mistake's a mistake. I've heard that the star demon god Vasagos once prophesied that it was your only opportunity to deal with me. Having failed, it means that your demon race will decline. Aren't I right?" The demon god emperor's expression changed and his reply also halted for a moment. Vasagos' great prophecy technique was one of the greatest secrets of the demons, so how did Long Houchen know? Even most demon gods had never heard about it before. The demon race will decline just by you. Fengxiu sneered. He did not retort Long Houchen. As the demon god emperor, he was always disdained to lie. However, for some reason, he felt a sense of unease after being reminded by Long Houchen. Yeah, didn't Vasagos say that time that this was their only opportunity in deal with Long Houchen, and if they missed this opportunity, Long Houchen would definitely grow to become a threat to the entire race. Just by me, Long Houchen answered the demon god emperor with utmost confidence. He clearly could not show any weakness at a time like this. Fengxiu suddenly smiled, "Very good. You really are the youngster who's caught my eye. Whether it's my race or your humans, there probably won't be anyone who can exceed your talent and luck among your generation. You really have become a threat now." Was the demon god emperor praising Long Houchen? Despite being enemies, the human powerhouses from the mountain pass could not help but feel somewhat proud after hearing that. This came from the demon god emperor. An invincible existence, the greatest powerhouse of the demons. It's not up to you to judge whether I've become a threat or not. Since this holy war is unavoidable, I believe this will be the war when we humans turn the situation around, Long Houchen said coldly. The demon god emperor smiled indifferently. I've praised you from the bottom of my heart. You really are outstanding, but you are still too young. I can kill you once, so I can kill you another time. Long Houchen suddenly widened his eyes and a cold gaze shot out. The huge figure immediately appeared extremely threatening, like a drawn bow, ready to erupt with the most powerful attack at any time. You are welcome to try it right now. As Long Houchen said that, he stood up from the divine throne of eternity and creation. He had actually taken the initiative to provoke the demon god emperor. Let alone the human powerhouses of the mountain pass, who had leapt in fright, even the other 19 demon gods in the distance were left at a loss. Long Houchen was just too arrogant to actually provoke the demon god emperor. However, the demon god emperor did not become angered. He did not seem to be thinking of fighting. He smiled, "You have more bark than bite. I say you can't, which means you can't. You have surprised me by defeating Arbao, but the difference between us is still tremendous. Since I've seen you here, you're already mine. However, I don't actually want to kill you. I'd like to ask you a question. Is Austin Griffin still alive?" Long Houchen smiled. His smile was rather disdainful. "If you're so confident in being able to kill me, what's there to be afraid of? Of course Hao Yue is alive. It's living well." The demon god emperor smiled as well. "It seems like you've already answered me." "That's right, I can't deny it. Austin Griffin does pose a huge threat to us demons. However, it is bound to you by a blood pact. You've already died, so how can it still be alive?" Long Houchen burst out in laughter. "I'm dead. Then who's standing right in front of you?" The demon god emperor said coldly, "Just an undead." Long Houchen shook his head gently. "Your Majesty, you are too confident in yourself. Most of the times, it isn't as you have imagined. Do you have any evidence to say I'm an undead?" The demon god emperor chuckled. "Evidence? Of course not, because you're no longer an undead anymore. However, you once were one." Long Houchen also smiled. "Your Majesty's contradictions really are hilarious." The demon god emperor shook his head. "No, they're not hilarious. I can confess to you that whether it's me or any other demon god, they all fear Austin Griffin. However, your situation has already told me that it really is dead. Back in the Star Demon Pagoda, I shattered your heart and you died. If I've guessed correctly, the reason why you are able to stand before him once again is due to some kind of treasure you carried back, then which prevented your soul from dissipating. Perhaps, Austin Griffin was not exactly dead back then. Afterwards, you used necromancy to revive yourself. However, you were only an undead at that time, not truly alive. You could maintain your soul, but Austin Griffin could not. It would only grow weaker until death. You've become a human once again, because you've stolen the remnants of the goddess of nature from me. You've reconstructed your heart through the power of the goddess of nature, but it's already been 5 years since I've killed you. In those 5 years, Austin Griffin should be deader than dead." Listening to the demon god emperor's detailed analysis, Long Houchen could not help but become surprised. It really was like that. According to the rules of the blood pact mentioned by the demon god emperor, Hao Yue should have died when he survived using the heart of eternity, unless he was not an undead back then. However, even he himself did not know what kind of existence he was before his heart had been reconstructed. The wondrous heart of eternity created by Elux was no different from a normal person's head. It did not even affect his cultivation. In that moment, Long Houchen was filled with doubt. His reaction had verified exactly what the demon god emperor said in the demon god emperor's eyes. Since Austin Griffin is already dead, then the greatest difference separating us is actually gone. The demon god emperor's smile grew slightly thicker. Although your body possesses Austin Griffin's bloodline, the bloodline will gradually vanish with its death. Since that's the case, I can give you a chance. Long Houchen roused from his thoughts. He seemed to grasp a few matters after the short moment of pondering. Was the Austin Griffin that the demon god emperor knew really the same creature as his Hao Yue? No, not exactly. The most simple reason was that when Hao Yue was still weak, it could survive on the Xingmo Dalu ore because of Long Houchen's blood pact. Long Houchen's bloodline did not just flow through Hao Yue's body. At the same time, his head that should have been of the darkness element had been changed to light. As a result, everything might have been different now. Long Houchen's guess was completely correct. Exactly because of the change in attribute, Hao Yue was able to survive, allowing it to gradually recover from its original wounds and evolve once more. Light and darkness were powers of exact opposite. The little light out of Hao Yue's 8 heads was basically the closest to Long Houchen, because all of its power came from Long Houchen. When Elux revived Long Houchen, he used the Heart of Eternity and retained everything human about Long Houchen, so he was not exactly an undead. He was half human, half undead at most. The Heart of Eternity was also created from the tremendous power of light, by using his physique as a sign of light as a foundation. It was the crystallization of the holy necromancer, slumbering calamity Elux's life's work. No matter how great the demon god emperor's cultivation was, his understanding about necromancy was insufficient, nor did he know that the person who had helped revive Long Houchen was a terrifying existence on par to himself. This was why his guess was wrong. Long Houchen did not correct the demon god emperor, as he listened to his easy voice and insistence on Hao Yue's death. What he needed the most right now was time. With each passing day, his cultivation would grow by a certain degree. At the same time, the situation at the Southeastern Pass and Myriad Beasts Mountain Pass would develop one step further. It was very unlikely that they could repel the demon god emperor, and all of the terrifying powerhouses he had brought with him outside the dragon-resisting mountain pass. His objective was to keep the demon powerhouses busy here, hopefully until the battles at the Southeastern Fort and Myriad Beasts Mountain Pass had wrapped up. Once that happened, the eternal heroes and powerhouses of the 6 temples would be able to rush over to assist them. That would be the final moment, when he fought the demon god emperor to the death. Exactly, because he needed time, that Long Houchen did not correct the demon god emperor. Instead, he asked curiously, "Are there any chances that exist among us at all?" The demon god emperor smiled, "Of course there are. You may not know, but when I saw you for the first time, my instinct told me that you would grow to a level where I'd have to take you seriously. And that time, if I've remembered correctly, was at the Exorcist Mountain Pass. You were as weak as an ant back then. I could sense your talent and physique. If I wanted to kill you back then, it would have been a piece of cake. Did you really think that just the people from the demon god slayers could really stop me?" What the demon god emperor said influenced Long Houchen greatly. Did he notice me back in the Exorcist Mountain Pass? It surprised Long Houchen. That was indeed the first time he saw the demon god emperor. Back then, he was just a provisional demon hunter, undergoing trials at the Exorcist Mountain Pass. It was also the first time he saw the demon god emperor. However, he never imagined the demon god emperor would notice such a weak demon hunter like him. From how the demon god emperor had said that they first met at Exorcity Mountain Pass, Long Houchen was able to believe his words. Indeed, if the demon god emperor wanted to kill him back then, it could not have been any easier for him to succeed. The reason why I didn't kill you was obviously not out of benevolence. Instead, I wanted to raise you, to let you mature completely. My final objective was to make you one of my potential successors. Of course, at that time, even though you held a place in my heart, it was still below our bows. With that, the dragon-resisting mountain pass could not help but call into an uproar. As a series of disdainful curses rang out. The only one who remained silent was Long Xingyu. His gaze suddenly became sharp, as he subconsciously tensed his fists, as he stared at the demon god emperor in the distance, as if he was ready to charge out and throw his life at the demon god emperor at any time. Are you dreaming? You're darkness, and I'm light. Long Houchen was also in great doubt. The demon god emperor had actually said that he wanted him to succeed him. Wasn't he joking? However, when he thought about when the demon god emperor killed him in the Star Demon Pagoda, Long Houchen realized something was off. With the demon god emperor's identity and status, he would never do anything aimlessly. The demon god emperor smiled indifferently. What is light and darkness? Once light has burned to the end, it is darkness. You crippled Arbao, So I really don't have a suitable successor now. If you are willing to abandon the humans and join my race, then you will be my first successor in line. If you are willing to hand over the remnants of the goddess of nature, then I can even pass the position to you immediately and halt all battles against humans. With the powers of my devil dragon pillar, converting your light to darkness is nothing difficult. Shock filled the entire dragon-resisting mountain pass. No one had thought the demon god emperor would say something like that after arriving at the mountain pass. He was actually trying to recruit Long Houchen, and his method about it was utterly shocking. Long Houchen only needed to hand over some remnant of something and he could become the new demon god emperor, as well as stop this holy war completely. What was this? This was completely unbelievable. No one had guessed that a twist like this would happen when the chairman of the Temple Union, Long Houchen, met the greatest demon god, the demon god emperor Fengxiu. Long Houchen had also become rather stunned. He had heavy suspicion over whether the demon god emperor had gone insane, nor was he able to understand what the demon god emperor was trying to say. Make him become the demon god emperor, and convert him from light to darkness, as well as hand over Yi Xiaolei. Wasn't the demon god emperor afraid that he would completely destroy the demons upon becoming their leader? However, from how calm the demon god emperor seemed, he did not appear to be joking. It's a very tempting offer. Although Long Houchen was shocked inside, he remained calm on the surface. He was the chairman of the Temple Union, the ruler who held the greatest authority among the humans. If he became unsettled before the demon god emperor, the morale of the entire mountain pass would definitely plummet. Once that had happened, how were they supposed to fend off the demon god emperor? Your Majesty, don't you find that trying to drive us apart through such a clumsy method is pointless? The future of the Xingmo Dalu belongs only to the humans. There will be no demons. Since that's the case, is there a need for a demon god emperor? Your Majesty, if you want to fight, then let's fight. There's no need to say any other words without substance like that. Long Houchen's rebuke was rather powerless, but combined with his calm voice and powerful aura, it was still very effective. Fengxiu smiled. He obviously could tell that Long Houchen had become rather uneasy. I'll give you 3 days to consider it. Give me an answer then. If you don't yield, then you will die. It's just like what I said before. I killed you once, so I can kill you a second time. Before the interests of my race, everything is useless. The dark golden light subsided and the demon god emperor directly faded away in the sky. The golden light from the devil dragon pillar also slowly receded. 3 days. Long Houchen also smiled. Dragging it out was fantastic. Wasn't the exact thing he wished for buying time. And Long Houchen immediately understood the demon god emperor's intentions. He was the same, also looking forward to the outcomes of the battles at the southeastern fort and Myriad Beasts Mountain Pass. Once the two demon armies had breached the southeastern fort and Myriad Beasts Mountain Pass, their dragon-resisting mountain pass would be in danger. However, what Long Houchen did not understand was why the demon god emperor did not launch an attack. If he and the powerhouses that had accompanied him launched a full-strength assault, it would be a terrifying threat to the dragon-resisting mountain pass. Long Houchen would definitely have to use all of his trump cards, and he himself would not know how long he could last. According to Yi Xiaolei, even if he used all of his powers, it was very difficult for him to defeat the demon god emperor. There was not the slightest hope at all. Returning to the dragon-resisting mountain pass, Long Houchen immediately held a meeting and mentioned his guess about the demon god emperor waiting for the outcomes of the two forts. The demon god emperor must have sensed that we've gathered enough forces in the dragon-resisting mountain pass to threaten his army, which is why he hasn't declared a battle immediately. He wants to wait for us to fall into disorder first, Long Houchen said sternly. Long Qianyin nodded, I agree. However, that's quite a horrible reason he's come up with to avoid battle immediately. He actually wants you to become the demon god emperor. Maybe something's happened to his head when he cultivated. With that, everyone immediately smiled out of goodwill. Long Houchen said, no matter what, these 3 days are extremely precious to us. According to our estimates, There'll be one day at most before the battles at the southeastern fort and Myriad Beasts Mountain Pass begin. The scales of victory on our side are closely related to the battles there. Let's hope everything is successful. Yang Haohan said, the dragon-resisting mountain pass has already made all preparations. Even if the demon god emperor tries to take the mountain pass by force, it won't be that easy. Long Haochen smiled, this is only the beginning of the holy war. Pay close attention to the movements of the demons at all times. Although the demon god emperor said 3 days, we can't be careless. Orders were quickly passed down. What Long Haochen failed to realize that seated towards the back, his own father Long Xingyu's complexion was rather bad, as if something was bothering him. As expected, the demon god emperor settled down 25 kilometers away from the dragon-resisting mountain pass in the demon camp. After ending his conversation with Long Haochen, he even organized all of the demon gods to disperse the auras of their demon god pillars. As a result, it was very difficult to see their encampment from the dragon-resisting mountain pass unless there was a high visibility. The demon god emperor was currently in a good mood. Although Arbao had been injured, he indirectly verified that Hao Yue was really dead, thus his worries had vanished. He had returned to how he was before. As he ordered his army to remain alert, as well as to rest up. He also ordered Agars to contact the demon god of death Samijina, and hell demon god Marbas, telling them to immediately report back once there was news. No one knew exactly what the demon god emperor was thinking right now. Even the people closest to him could not guess his thoughts. Leaning back on a bed, the demon god emperor squinted his eyes as if he was thinking of something. Ling Xiao. He suddenly murmured his daughter's name, before gently shaking his head. Although Arbao is strong-headed, he's usually able to see the bigger picture rather well, and he's willing to put up with hardships. He also possesses the fine bloodline of the imperial clan. Ling Xiao's bloodline is not as pure as Arbao's. Her mother's bloodline is not pure enough. And, this girl is more bold than wise. She won't be able to bear the burden. This really does trouble me. As he said that, the demon god emperor slowly sat up. He unknowingly thought of Long Haochen, that had faced him 25 kilometers away earlier today. The demon god emperor smiled mysteriously, what a Long Haochen. Using the might of the supra-divine tool, he should possess a cultivation close to the 8th rank of the 9th step. If he really does have any trump cards hidden, he should be able to go beyond that and is not even 30 yet. Arbao pales in comparison to him over many aspects. Even though his bloodline is not pure enough, not even as pure as Ling Xiao's, but his bloodline from the other side is extremely pure. If he is willing to yield in the end and willing to have his bloodline and element converted, the demons will definitely become even more prosperous in the next 1,000 years. He's the only existence that might surpass me in the future as well. He even possesses the position of God that I require the most. Very good, very good. Without Austin Griffin estranging us, is there anyone that is a better successor than him? In this world, there really isn't anything I can't do. What's a chairman of a union supposed to amount to? The entire temple union's about to collapse, invaded by my armies, while he'll be pinned down here, unable to do anything. When he's forced to just watch the massacre of humans, he will obviously make up his mind. This video will end here.